Question 1. In what way does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Our new production piece, A Different Kind of Animal, is a dark short film that follows the life of bipolar disorder sufferer Jake Stone and how he deals with the consequences of the actions of what he does when he can't control himself. It is a film that asks questions of the human mind and analyses the deterioration of people dominated by mental health problems and their struggles with following the norms of society. We have used multiple character arcs to tell the story, further adding to the essence of mania and confusion that the narrative delivers. Though I have seen many great movies that deal with similar hard-hitting themes of mental health, such as Darren Aronofsky's Mathematical Mindbender Pi, which gives a somewhat similar character study in terms of social alienation, or my favourite movie of all time, Punch Drunk Love, which paints a somewhat beautifully bittersweet love story out of anxiety, my main influence came as I watched John S. Baird's directorial debut, Filth, a critically acclaimed but audience-dividing adaptation of Irvine Welsh's controversial novel. After seeing James McAvoy's astonishing performance as a detective solving a murder whilst balancing his job with his mental life troubles and drug abuse, I felt compelled to create something that dealt with similar ethics. It's not the first time an Irvine Welsh novel has translated well onto screen, not least with the infamously graphic Trainspotting, though for me, Filth was able to create a slightly more compelling and emotional character study. A second film I felt strongly inspired by was Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners, a visually stunning, highly emotional, character-driven drama starring Hugh Jackman and Jake Gyllenhaal about child abduction. The detective themes intrigued me, and I added an additional character to the screenplay later on in production in the form of Detective, which also helped tie some loose narrative threads together to create a more cohesive structure. Prisoners is another meticulously crafted, beautifully shot work from a director who seems to be getting better and better with every film he makes, recently directing the intriguing, unconventional narrative of Enemy, and currently working on the upcoming Blade Runner sequel, which will hopefully allow him to become an established director in the mainstream. After writing a not-so-descriptive treatment that felt messy and lacking in finality, I wanted to plan the short film at the next stage to an extent I felt comfortable with, so that we weren't making scenes up as we went along in a false sense of finger painting. I wanted to write a professional and in-depth screenplay that incorporated directorial vision as well as character-appropriate dialogue. To gain influence for my screenplay, I looked at some other screenplays online as a guide for what I should be aiming for, and one that stuck out to me was that of my favourite writer and directors, Paul Thomas Anderson's debut movie, Hard Eight, originally titled Sydney before a stubborn studio forced him into the name change. The screenplay for this intelligent, stripped-down and intimate movie that deals with multiple compelling character studies showed me what a first-time writer should be aiming for and how to do it well. I also took a look at a screenplay for one of his later works and my second favourite movie of all time, Magnolia, an ensemble piece that manages to deal significantly with many characters to an overwhelmingly emotional extent, showing me how I could juggle so many as 3 character arcs significantly in such a short piece. To make sure our actors knew how to play their characters in tune with my direction, as well as with a sense of self-influence, we arranged meetings with all to discuss the roles in personal detail. Question 2. How effective is the combination of your main product and ancillary texts? To accompany our short film, I and my production partner designed 2 companion pieces in the form of a review page and a poster, both of which help reinforce and convey alternative statements that allow for our short film to have a heightened impact on its intended audience. Our review page, which gives our short film a favourable rating, uses an appropriate screenshot from the film that sets the aesthetical tone of our visual storytelling and narrative, this image being of our main protagonist tying his tie in front of a mirror. Not only is it a nice looking shot, but it also demands the viewer to question what it could mean in regard to greater context. I believe the image acts as a visual representation of the protagonist's split personality, raising controversial but impactful questions about mental health. I also think the inclusion of the main protagonist is important as to introduce the audience to its lead, and to display a degree of personality is to appeal to the audience on a deeper, emotional level. The poster we designed for the film plays with the same ideas that the image used on our review page does. Focusing on an image of our main protagonist alongside an image of a wolf, an animal with immediate connotations of danger and recklessness which causes harm to others and strikes up fear, the poster should have a direct impact on its audience. Again, there is also an essence of controversy with this suggestion, as mental health is a theme that should be handled with extreme care in what is today a very sensitive society. The intention of a poster is to appeal to an audience, not shock them so much that they don't want to see the movie. Though, it could be argued that controversy attracts attention, therefore leading to the film acquiring more potential viewers. Any publicity is good publicity. The background of the poster shows a city street, darkly lit by the night light. This relates to the conclusion of our film, which takes place in a similarly lit location. The lighting also leans towards the aforementioned aesthetical factors that we set in the review page, suggesting a dark, moody approach. The poster also features the names of all three major characters to advertise the talent of those involved, as is my name, with a professional accompaniment of credits at the bottom of the poster, as is featured in all professional productions and their marketing works. Together with my production, these ancillary tasks help create a cohesive work with many complex and detailed layers.
What have you learned from your audience feedback?
My first piece of audience feedback, gained through a questionnaire taken before work started on the production, helped us develop our initial ideas to suit the interests of our intended audience. 26 people contributed to the questionnaire, 13 of each gender, allowed for a balanced and accurate representation. An old group member of ours, who jumped ship shortly before we began filming, shared this questionnaire on his Facebook and Twitter accounts, allowing us to reach a wider and appropriate selection of people, all of a similar age to ourselves. We learned what people expect to see from the video, duration, appropriate use of locations, and appropriate colour schemes. Once our short film was completed, we allowed our peers to critically assess it. This acted as a third eye, giving us insight into the areas of the film that we needed to improve, that we were unaware of. This was helpful because it allowed us to gather a collective opinion of our short film. One of the first things we noticed was that the people understand the narrative of our film, which is good because we worried it might have been too overcomplicated. Our overall reaction to our short film was very positive. Although this was great because we discovered people enjoyed our film, constructive criticism has a much higher value to us. The main problem our audience discovered was the length of the film, as it was too long. We had been aware of this for some time and were seeking advice from our audience on how we could shave time off a production in any way that doesn't affect the overall narrative and style. We deduced that the shortening and possibly removing scenes from the start of the production would be best. Although it is very artistic in its variety of shots, it would hold the least amount of narrative, therefore not removing necessary information relevant to the overall understanding of our film narrative. Our audience particularly liked our extensive and creative use of camera angles and shots. We made sure we had a good variety of shots because we understand the importance of this. One of my personal favourite shots was that of the detective and the use of the high-powered torch, which caused a great lens flare as he whipped past the camera. This allows us to demonstrate excellent use of light at an artistic and intelligent level. We understand the supreme importance of light when filming, which gave us the opportunity to experiment with light in creative and interesting ways. For example, there is a clear aesthetical difference between the first half of our short film and the second. This directly relates to the narrative to create an almost night and day innocent and animalistic tone. We placed close attention to the framing of our shots, making sure that each one gave off the right feeling.
How did you use new media technologies in the construction and research planning and evaluation stages?
To develop a different kind of animal, we had to use multiple media technologies for its construction and research, as well as for its planning and evaluation. To plan the video, we used Coggle, an interesting and useful internet application that helped us devise a digital and detailed early plan of initial ideas, also allowing all group members to access the page and add to it after an inspiration hit. All of the planning was done through treatments and storyboards. To reach its format of other short films, we took a look at other celebrated short films online, giving us a strong understanding of the construction and formatting of a short film. We also watched a number of movies during and before the production, many of which we discussed in detail on our blogs, and all these contributed in some sense towards the tone and structure of our movie. As we moved on to filming and editing, we began to use advanced media equipment, such as a digital camera, mainly handheld, a drone borrowed from a fellow class member, and to edit Adobe Premiere Pro, an easy to use and professional standard piece of software. We also used After Effects to develop credits. All of these media technologies contributed to what makes our movie special and unique. To create our impressive score, we attained AllSat from copyright and cost-free websites Freesound, which offered us high-quality sound that we could make the most of to create a professional soundtrack. After finishing both versions of our video, we uploaded them to YouTube.